Hey, also, what's up, everyone? It's not just your average Joe, and I'm gonna be doing a video on Kagero, the 5 star that Freakumber 567 was talking about. However, I'm gonna talk about Effie quickly because my brother just was talking about something interesting the other day. Well, yesterday, really. So, another skill that could work for Effie that I didn't think of until my brother pointed it out was Noontime or Soul from Raven. Um, because it can keep her wary fighter up. The only issue is that say you want to be efficient, so you leave her in range, and then that's one cooldown off, and you initiate an attack. She one shots, or even if she doesn't one shot, the second attack is when the noontime will activate, and at that point it's not really much to heal, but it's just an option. It keeps the wear fighter up, and then really, I mean, there could be a difference between the difference between a win and a loss could be 1 HP. So that's just something to look out for. So I'm gonna talk about Kagero. Her optimal IVs, in my opinion, is the minus defense plus speed one or the minus defense plus attack one, right? So I have neither, so I'm not exactly too thrilled about that. I think one of my Kageros is this one. Is a minus. She's a minus resistance, but I'm not entirely sure what her. I'm gonna minus resistance plus HP. So not bad, not good. So her HP is really low. At max 31 as a 5 star. If you have the IV for it, it's 34. Not exactly the highest. So retribution and reprisal don't really. Like, in my opinion, they don't really complement that well because at most you're gonna get. I mean, 10% of 30 is what? 10, no? So let me just do the math before I sound like a freaking idiot. Just give me 1 second, bear with me. So, 0.3 times 31. That's the average one. So 9.3. So it's an additional 9. It does help when you're basic infantry units because that can be the difference between a one shot and not. And that's the key with Kagero. Really, you just want her to one shot a bunch of units. So I'm gonna talk about that. In terms of support skills, Rally is not really something I would give Kagero because you want her to be initiating attacks. You don't want her to be taking hits, but you do want her to be initiating attacks, right? So something like reposition or pivot might be a little bit better. You could like having a Rally skill speed, whatever, is always useful. Don't write it off. I just think that Kagero might be it might not help you as much because you want her to attack. Active skill wise, I would give Moonbow. I prefer Moonbow actually. Nuna, if you're feeling really daring, I suppose. I mean, that's a 3-turn cooldown. At least Moonbow is just 2. It's easier to activate. Yeah, it's not something I would think is fine. Her passive skill slots that she starts off with are fine too. Speaking of which, her resistance stats is okay, 28. So you could give her Iceberg, so that's plus 14 damage. It's a 3-turn cooldown. But I think Moonbow might be the best one. When you think about cooldown and damage dealt and stuff, she's gonna one-shot a lot of units anyway. You could give her, as an A slot, I guess the most optimal one would be close counter, and then her B slot's Vantage. I guess that could be the closest one to optimal, quote unquote. I think that Fury is great as well. Increases her base stat total in general, and it leaves her a little tanky. I faced some Fury Kagero, and my Takumi actually doesn't kill her in one shot, which he usually does. So it gets a little bit frustrating because then she one shots Takumi, then I have like no other. I have little options, little else after that. Fury works too. This leaves her. It's easier for her. You can leave her to be in range to get hit, and she can survive. Like, it's totally possible. And this works in tandem with her retribution reprisal, right? Because that brings her HP down. Like, she takes a hit, and the Fury can take it down to 1 HP, so you can get the maximum amount of damage possible. Obviously, you only want her to be attacking infantry units, which is like 70 or 80% of the game at the moment. At least that's a claim I want to say. I don't know if that's true or not. Parting Blow, not the greatest. I guess that just makes her easy. It makes it easier to kill mages, but I think her A slots. If it's not gonna be Fury, Death Blow as well. The only thing with Death Blow is it's an expensive A slot to give. At least with Fury, I think Hinata as a 4-star gets it right. I have quite a amount of him. Fury 1, 2, yeah, it's a 4-star. So Fury is like the cheaper option. Death Blow, I'd say, is probably the one I would prefer. But as an all-around, yeah, I think Fury overall as an all-arounder skill would be the best one to give Kagero. I think so. It also helps with her middling speed because it's 32 as just a regular one, and at most it's a 35. So she's not going to be outspeeding anyone soon. Not that you need her to. I think you need her to not get outsped. That's the key, as opposed to being want to give a follow-up attack. I just think you don't want her to get 2 because she's not taking a lot of hits. Her HP is too low for that. It's paltry. I talked about the B slot. If you do have close counter, then advantage. If not, Dagger Breaker works. Bow Breaker, I suppose. I mean, breakers in general don't really work with Kagero because you want her to just one shot whatever you're attacking or whatever she's getting attacked by, right? Like, so she doesn't need the second attack. But it could come in handy every once in a while. So just keep the option open. I think against mages she's fine. Mages usually have low defense. I think for the most part, maybe barring Tharha or something, she's gonna one shot a lot of them. But that's just a bold claim. I'm not entirely sure about that. Her C slot, I would put threat and defense. There's really nothing else I would put. If she's a plus speed one, then give her threat and speed or something. But I think the optimal one to give her is threat and defense. I mean, if you did the Navarre map, you should have been able to get. He's kind of like a free threat and speed fodder. If not, Selena is as well. That's a 4-star. She gives threat and speed 3 as well. So I just want to put the options out there. I don't know. It's whatever you have at the moment and what works for you. Especially because she starts out as a 5-star. She has limited SP, right? So I would say Fury for A slot, and B you can keep the Dagger Breaker, then C slot give a threat and defense. Then if you still have SP to spare, maybe you can inherit another B slot. Maybe you can like the support skill over here. That's the last thing I would prioritize. Focus on everything else. Fixing everything else about her. Don't touch her active skill because it's fine the way it is. Give her the Fury because that's the only, and then just keep the Dagger Breaker. Don't invest in Warding Blow. And then work on her C-Saw with the threat and defense. And then after that, the other two skills, the active skill here, the support skill here and the active skill here, if you do give it to her, it's pretty much luxury at that point. It's not necessary. I think that's everything, right? So the key thing with Kagero is you want her to one-shot a unit, and she's not going to take a lot of hits back, right? So you want to keep that in mind when you're trying to build her. So threat and defense is perks in tandem with Poison Dagger. You obviously don't want her attacking cavalry units or something, so you got to plan it out that way. But threat and defense, Death Blow or Fury, definitely. I think Fury would be a bit better option. You can keep the active skill here, and B slot. Just keep the Dagger Breaker, but you can always give something like a Quick Riposte or Brash Assault. But trust me, you don't need an extra follow-up attack. I mean, you could kind of annoy people too because you'd have Fury, right? You could give her Escape Route from Cecilia, and then she'd be at low HP a lot of times, right? If not all the time when you are in the battle. So having her going around rampant, just one-shotting units out of nowhere would be kind of funny. So yeah, that's just another thing to keep in mind, the escape route. But yeah, so I'm gonna summarize everything. Active weapon, perfect. Support skill, luxury, but something like reposition or whatever. Active skill, it's a luxury too to improve it. You can keep it the way it is. A slot, close counter, probably maybe the one of the better options with Vantage as the B slot, but that's a luxury too. So more realistically, Fury or Death Blow, especially Fury as the A slot. B slot escape route. I know for sure that we have there's a 3-star Cecilia we're getting in the quest today, so it's pretty much guaranteed that you have at least one escape route per fodder after you get the 5 orbs. And where is she? But the dagger breaker that's built in, it works well too. Escape route's a luxury as well. C slot threat and defense. So focus on the A and C, and then all the things I mentioned as luxury, you work on that at another point. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you for watching, and later days.